formatted strings in Python programming language. Formatted strings are particularly useful in situations where you want to dynamically generate some text with your variables. Let me show you. Let's say we have two variables, first name and last name. So first, we set this to John, and last, we set this to Smith. Now, it's better to call these variables first name and last name because they're more descriptive. But here I'm using shorter names because I want you to see the entire code on the screen. So let's say with these two variables, we want to generate some text like this. John, in square brackets, Smith is a coder. Let's say we want to print this on a terminal. How do we do this? Well, we define another variable like message. Now here we add the first name. Now we need to concatenate this with a string that contains a space and a square bracket. Next, we need to add the last name. Then we need to add a string that contains the closing square bracket followed by is a coder. Okay, so then if we print message and run this program, we see John Smith is a coder, right? Now, while this approach perfectly works, it's not ideal because as our text gets more complicated, it becomes harder to visualize the output. So someone else reading this code, they have to visualize all these string concatenations in their head. This is where we use formatted strings. They make it easier for us to visualize the output. So I'm going to define another variable, let's say MSG, short for message, and set this to a formatted string. A formatted string is one that is prefixed with an F. So F quotes. Now in between the quotes, first we want to add the value of the first name variable. So we add curly braces, and here we type first. Next, we add a space. We add our square brackets. In between the square brackets, we want to display the last name. So once again, we add curly braces and type last. And finally here we type is a coder. So this is what we call a formatted string. With these curly braces, we're defining placeholders or holes in our string. And when we run our program, these holes will be filled with the value of our variables. So here we have two placeholders or two holes in our string. One is for the value of our first name variable, and the other is for the value of the last name variable. Now compare this formatted string with string concatenation. With this formatted string, we can easily visualize what the output looks like, right? Now let's print this on a terminal to make sure we get the exact same output. So let's print message. There you go. So John Smith is a coder. So to define formatted strings, prefix your strings with an F and use curly braces to dynamically insert values into your strings.
Rocks. I'm writing a paper on them. This is a lasting sign between me and Break, and I need to